What's up, everybody? It's me, Gina Bianca, and I'm here to share with you today an amazing color correction. Hey everybody, it's me, Gina Bianca. You can follow me on Instagram at @IamGinaBianca. Thank you for visiting my channel. Today I'm going to share with you an amazing color correction, part 1. I had a beautiful guest reach out to me. She had some black box dye and some crazy things going on. It was box dye, professional dye. She donned it. She did a color remover on it. She had blue in the front. It's crazy. You'll see it. But she had come to me asking me to do her hair. I'm a color correction specialist. I don't do a lot of hair all the time behind the chair in the salon, but she was just like, please take me as a guest, fix my hair. And I was just like, okay, well, but she said to me, I don't want to be warm. And I was just like, I'm not a magician. I will do everything I can to take care of you, but there's gonna be warmth. Lo and behold, after our first platinum card, she had a lot of warmth left over, a little bit of banding, and she's coming back in 2 weeks for another appointment. I want to show you a real life black box dye correction, what's possible. We had 6 hours booked. She paid my rate, $125 an hour. She booked in advance, she showed up, it was great, but she booked 6 hours. This is what we had time for. This was great for her hair to handle in 1 day, and now we have another session. The thing is that when a guest pulls warm and doesn't want warmth, you have a couple of options, but you can either go with the warmth or go against the warmth. Usually when you go against the warmth, you're gonna have to lift it out later and you have to go darker. I didn't want her hair to be dark, so we went with the warmth. We toned it. There's a little bit left over. It still looks good, but she definitely needs to come back for another session where we're either going to tone her darker, do a highlight. We're going to figure it out. We'll show you again when she comes back. But this was her first session color correction. It was great. It's something really awesome you can learn from. If you like this video, please subscribe, hit the bell notification so you can get notified every time I post a video. And don't forget to follow me on Instagram and listen to my podcast, the Gina Bianca Podcast, for more free education. My mission is to elevate the beauty industry and to make every hairstylist better simply by sharing with them my amazing foundation and everything I've learned so far. All right, are you ready? Let's get started. So we mixed Joico Blonde Life with 5 volume, and we mixed it 1 to almost 2 to make it a little bit thinner consistency so that it spreads further in the foil. When you mix Blonde Life, you can mix 1 to 1 or all the way up to 1 to 2. The more developer you put in, the less strength the lightener will have because the lift is in the lightener. So for a platinum card and for doing these long applications, it's good to have a lightener consistency that will spread and that won't be too strong on the hair. All right, so we're gonna start every service with Joico Defy Damage. This is the bond builder I've been using, you guys. It's really great. You wanna shake the can vigorously and make sure that you get every hair, you section it out, make sure everything's covered. Shake the hair vigorously, spray all over, and then make sure you're spraying away too, so it's going down towards the hair. So it's gonna give you 80% less breakage, 5 times stronger hair, increased and more even lift, even out the porosity for better color deposit, and it maintains over 90% of the color vibrancy. So it's a really great add-on service. You can make more money with it, and the take-home system is incredible. So you'll definitely love Defy Damage. If you haven't tried it yet, give it a try. Let me know what you think by sending me a DM or commenting below what you think about Defy Damage. I took my time sectioning her hair, made sure all of those blue pieces were sectioned away so that we can lighten them last, and then I did a custom sectioning that was easy for me to foil. So it's definitely a new custom sectioning. Okay. With this application, I'm gonna try my best to get it in an hour and a half. I like to challenge myself with my application time while still doing like a great job. Amazing, so we're gonna start our application. I'm gonna anchor that foil in. Again, I'm using the Framar 8x11 Starstruck foils and my Framar Power Painter. I'm gonna go ahead and glue where I want saturation to begin and then feather up for this first one, but I'm gonna use a different blend strategy for the rest of the look. So I'm gonna make sure I'm saturating small sections and make sure I'm working very, very clean. If you want to go all the way up to the root and preserve a little bit of depth, but get as much blonde, like there's a band there. So if we don't saturate completely, like if we feather, it's going to be warm. So I'm going to use tease instead on most of them, because that way I can saturate all the way through and still have that blend. If I just feather, it's not going to be, it's going to be warm, just going to have a band, because banding happens when we don't saturate right. And feathering is not saturating. So feathering is one way to blend, but when you have box dye or really dark hair, you might have to switch to a different or additional blend strategy. So I'm going ahead and using tease, as I shared in the last clip, and I'm going to make sure I saturate all the way through to avoid any banding. And I still got banding in this end result, you guys. It's something that happens when you have overlapped color. This is Salon Reality Color Correction, what to expect. So I did have a tiny bit of banding, nothing that can't be addressed in the next session, but thank God I teased, because if I feathered everything and I didn't give myself that additional blend strategy and that additional saturation, I would have had a lot more to worry about. So again, I'm going through, taking my sections, make sure I'm saturating. I'm doing some tease. I'm gonna go ahead, glue where I want saturation to begin, make sure everything is covered, and then this time, as I get up into the hair and move up, I'm going to be double folding my foils most of the time so that I can let the hair expand a little bit more. For the longer hair, you know, as you move up the head, the hair is going to be a little bit longer. So want to make sure that the hair has enough room to expand and process. So I'm going to overlay those foils. If you're just starting out doing hair, be prepared for these services to take a really long time. Just because you're not as fast as me doesn't mean you're not good at hair. It just means that you're still building your dexterity and speed. My best advice is to do one full highlight a day for a year, and then you will see yourself snap into fast mode. You can do one full highlight a day for a year, or you can do 2 full highlights a week for 5 years and then one day be fast. But you guys, it takes practice, it takes diligence, and it takes doing it to get the results. So I'm gonna start pivoting now. So as you can see, this is starting to get wide and weird. So instead of just following it blindly, I'm gonna start to pivot and try to get eventually this way. Yeah, so I'm gonna pivot to vertical.
Wow.
Do you love it?
I love it. It's so cool.
All right, so the sectioning and the placement I chose to do simply by getting in there, looking at everything. Her hair was like a mullet kind of, and she also had these pieces underneath that were pre-lightened, and they really can't handle to be lightened that long. So what I decided to do was leave those out until the end, and I kind of sectioned them off, and then it left me with like not an easy way to do a clean sectioning. So what I decided to do was go in and kind of adapt and evolve during the entire sectioning. So I kind of looked at it, I made like a triangle section, and then I went completely diagonal into vertical. And the reason I did that is just easier to foil that way. And like when you're doing the sectioning like a platinum card, like every hair in a foil, it kind of doesn't matter how you put it in as long as you put it in and it's clean and the sections are small and consistent. So I went in, I did the triangle section through the back, and then I went in and I went diagonal into vertical. And then through one side, on her lighter side, I continued vertical just because it was easier. And then on the other side, I went horizontal all the way up until I couldn't go anymore, and then I met it on the other side. So the way that I was sectioning was kind of just like, we'll see what happens as I foil. Not everything has to be perfect and planned out. You can adapt and evolve. Wow. So cool.
Cool.
Alright, so we'll check our first foils down here. You put your finger there. Thank you. I folded kind of weird in the beginning. Okay, so this is where I started to get a little nervous because the bottom was taking forever, and you know, Salon is gonna win the race. You gotta keep your cool. You gotta stay calm, cool, and collected during these, and listen to what I say to her.
It's not liquid.
It is.
Is it?
Yeah, it's like yellow-orange in the middle though.
Okay.
Typically, I'd like for it to be yellow,
Yeah.
but I think that it's just leaving it on because
Okay.
it's low volume, you know what I mean?
Yep, yep, yep.
So you can leave it on for quite a while.
Okay. I'm gonna use heat or no heat.
I might put it under light heat lamps.
Okay.
Very light though, like from far away.
Yeah.
Because I'm not a big fan of heat, but I do use them for like stuff like this, but not like close-up burning. Just so you guys know, I have an affiliate code for Framar below. Try my foils, they're the best. Okay, so for her blend strategy, and if you've taken classes with me before, you know I talk about the 5 ways to blend. So the 5 ways to blend are feather, tease, dry brush, spray, and melt. So you can use all of these to have perfect blends, or you can pick and choose, but whatever blend you do is gonna add time. So my recommendation is to get better and better and better at your applications and practice and practice and practice, and then eliminate those ways to blend and try to only use feather. However, sometimes it's not possible to do these looks with only feather, because feather means that you're not saturating all the way. You're feathering up, and that's gonna leave a band. If there's permanent color, if there's anything weird going on in the hair, not weird, but like if it's not virgin perfect hair, it's gonna leave a band. So for this guest, because she had so much happening in her hair, I decided to go with tease. Going with the tease strategy from, not teasing from low, teasing from higher. I'm pushing the hair up. What goes up must come down, so it's gonna come down and give us blend. But if I tease from lower, all of that hair from the bottom is gonna come back down and be more dimensional. Get 2 looks there, right? So what I decided to do was tease from the base to just blend that little line of demarcation and give it the look of being feathered. And I decided to do that because when you go tease, you can saturate all the way through and avoid having a band. So that's why I chose that blend strategy, and you'll see in our video, obviously, I did that throughout her whole head. Sometimes if I had a section that was kind of too big, I did tease and then I weaved, especially up through the part line when the foils get really, really tight. You know, I really wanted to make sure that I still had the blend. So sometimes if your section is too big, what you can do is you can continue with the tease, but you can go in and weave and just do 2 foils on that section. But what I want to urge you is that no matter what, do not take bigger sections. Re-section it or weave it and make the section smaller, or you're going to pay for it later.
I'm actually fine.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
It's always like at this point where it's just like, okay, come on.
Well, this is hard right here. It's really.
Well, I box myself in. Just a different way of doing it, but. You remember that step stool though? That's
Amazing.
way better.
I always do that.
I know, I see you on here.
Always.
See you up flying high. Like, this is a good picture.
Is this the last foil?
Mm-hmm. Well, 2 more because I'm gonna do something a little different here. I'm just gonna tease as much as I can, get close down to the base, and I'm kind of like vertically teasing to try to give myself a little bit more space. And then, because this is way too big to weave or to slice, it's just too thick of a section. I'm just gonna split it into 2. All right, everybody. So as you can see from the video, what I'm trying to always make sure of is that I'm diligent with my section. So when you're doing a platinum card, when you're doing any of these techniques, you want to make sure that you're diligent. So what that means is you want to stay consistent with your section size. Staying consistent with your section size is going to give you a more even look. If you get lazy, if you don't resection if it's too big, if you get sloppy with your sectioning and your sections get bigger and bigger because you want to go faster, you have to slow down, because even if your guest is uncomfortable, even if they're like, you know, wanting to move around, even if they're complaining about the weight, this happens in salon reality. The guest is like, this is heavy, wah. Listen, you guys, you have to, my guest is a dream, but what you have to do is you have to stay consistent, because what's gonna end up happening is if your sections are too big, you're gonna pay for it later. You're gonna make up for it in the sink with extra time, extra product, extra stress and damage on the hair. It's so important to be consistent.
Great. Yay.
So my goal to get this application done was an hour and a half. It took like 2 hours and 15 minutes, mainly because she had those crazy pieces around her face that I had to section out. It took me like 15 minutes to even section it. And I had to section those out, and then I had to go in, lift all the foils, whatever. But I was close, kind of, but a 2-hour platinum card, not bad.
They're so bad.
They're so packed.
That's good because I had to eat.
Huh?
That's good because there's speed, you know?
Absolutely. Yeah, you're really blonde, babe.
Good.
It looks good. It looks really good.
So glad.
Okay, so let's talk about how we did this application with our lightener. So I played with the ratio when I was applying. So the first bowls of lightener I used were Joico Blonde Life with 5 volume, 1 to 1.75. So you can go 1 to 1 all the way up to 1 to 2 with Blonde Life. The more developer you mix, the lower the strength will be, but it's still strong, okay? It's not gonna make it a different lightener. It just makes it a little bit less strong. It helps the lightener move a little bit better. But if you mix 1 to 1, that's gonna be your most strength. Then when I got to like the middle, I did Joico Blonde Life 5 volume, but I did 1 to 1.5. And that improved the strength a little bit. It didn't make it different. I didn't go up to 7 volume yet. I didn't go to 10 volume yet, but just playing with the ratio will change the strength of the lightener. And when you're using small sections, that really counts. Then when we were just finishing the top back area, I went from Joico Blonde Life 5 volume to Joico Blonde Life 7 volume, 1 to 1.5. That's my favorite consistency to use. So once I started grooving and I'm getting in there and we're done with like the bottom, I moved right to 7 volume and with a consistency of 1 to 1.5. So just remember, if you're using balayage, if you're doing out of foil stuff, the less lightener you use, the more strength is gonna be there. You can definitely play with your application and all of this. It's like chemistry, it's fun, it's different. You can definitely customize with Blonde Life. That's one of the main reasons I love it. You don't need multiple lighteners. You could do everything with one. The last bowl that we mixed was Joico Blonde Life and 10 volume, 1 to 1.5. All right, you guys, so as you can see, she's got a little bit of yellow orange left through her ends. So we went and toned with it instead of against it to make her next session easy peasy.
New bottle problems.
Yeah.
Blooper. Alexandra, why are you so smart? Dang. Alexandra made a blooper reel of everything we shot last year, and it was so funny.
I bet.
It's on my Instagram.
I'll have to look that up.
It was just so fun. I like when she sent it to me, I was like, oh my God, it made me so happy. Wow. Like no hair comes out of the brush. We just platinum carded her.
Awesome.
All right, everybody, we're ready to tone. It looks great. There's a little bit of yellow left, so my formulation that I chose is the Joico Lumishine Liquid Demi. I'm going to towel blot the hair a lot and apply this. I wanna make sure that it's not unsoaking wet hair. I wanna make sure it goes on a really good canvas. The formulas I chose are 9NV and 10V. This is gonna be for her front face frame, which is really, really bright already. For the areas in the back that are a little bit warmer, I'm gonna add in 7SB, and we're gonna apply that to the mids and kind of just like watch the ends and make sure that it doesn't get too deep. But this is gonna kick out some of the orange that's in there. It's really like a light yellow orange, but I just wanna add a little bit of this to the second formula to just make sure that we do everything we can to get it out. Her goal is not to be white platinum blonde, it's not to be ashy, it's not to be icy. She doesn't mind a golden blonde, but I wanna make sure that the blonde looks really nice, really even, and really beautiful. Okay, so we're applying the toner, and I'm doing this voiceover obviously after the fact, and there was a little bit of banding in here, a little bit of warmth. You know, she is coming back for another session, and you know, as I go through and see it on a high def camera and not in person, I'm just like, yeah, it's pretty warm, but I'm really glad we toned lighter I'm really, really glad we toned with it and didn't go too crazy against it, because we're gonna have to lift that out later. And when you do that during a color correction, you guys, the guest is gonna pay for it, their hair is gonna pay for it, and it's just gonna add more time, money, and stress to the hair. Sometimes you just have to live with it. And feel free to send this to a guest who's getting a color correction. You know, sometimes you just have to live with it to get the results that you want, and I'm glad we did it this way. Really great.
Let me get that again. It's $6.19.
It's $6.19. I love you so much.
I can't wait to see it flown out.
Me too. You're on a really great path. Like, this is a really good start. Everything is going to just keep getting better and better. It looks great. Okay, everybody, before I show you the end result, please follow me on Instagram, hit that subscribe button, and be sure to let me know what you thought of this video. This is a real life color correction, you guys. It's not every day we're blessed with 6 hours to do somebody's hair. Usually a guest wants it in 1 hour with $100. This guest was amazing. We had the opportunity to do a full platinum card, and she still needs another session. This is Salon reality. This is what you have to do sometimes to get that result. I'm really excited to show you, and I can't wait to show you next time what we do to take her even lighter and to get her to her goals. All right, everybody, here's the before, and here is our beautiful after. Remember, we've got a little tiny bit of warmth, but look how light it got, and look at her natural blended root just using tease, no color melt. Come on. What? It looks so good. Before and after. Oh, so amazing. So ready for her next session. It looks gorgeous. Her hair feels healthy. Her mullet looks dope. She's just awesome, and I'm really excited for her next session.